Life in the beginning seemed like it was spiraling downwards. I had so many addictions. I was addicted to pornography. I was sleeping around. My house was broken. There was constant fights in my house. It just seemed like there was no way out for me. You know, I was failing in my studies. I had no future. I had no prospects. I had no plan for my life. And it just seemed like, you know, hell just broke loose in my house, and there was just no other way for me to go than to continue the life that I was living. But then I had a friend who actually showed me that there was hope. He believed in me. Someone believed in me. And honestly speaking, before then, I didn't have no vision of hope. I didn't believe that something good can happen until when he gave me an opportunity. You know, he gave me advice and told me that, you know, my life could actually move forward, and that the life that I was living wasn't the life that I didn't have to live that kind of life. So today, I'm no longer addicted to pornography. My family's restored. My future's looking brighter. I'm not failing in my studies anymore, but I'm actually doing really well.
Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to Finding Answers. Some say that people who are successful, they were born to be successful because of the natural traits they have. And others say that those who are born to be unsuccessful will never be successful because they don't have it in them. Now, are you born to be successful, or is it something that you can learn? If you want to be successful, but you're not, and people are telling you that this is how you have to accept that your life is, should you just, you know, fold your arms and forget about even trying and just accept defeat, accept a life that is less than what you expected, and just say these are the cards that I've been dealt with? Is that what you should do? And also, I read something interesting a couple of months ago in a book that I've really been trying to live my life by this, which is everything in this world can be learned. Think about it. I mean, there's a guy right now behind the camera that you can see operating the camera. And his name is Andrew. He's laughing at me now. And I don't know how to operate a camera, how to work a camera, but I can learn it. And his job would be redundant, right? I can learn it. I mean, I don't know how to fly a plane, but I can learn it. I'm pretty sure it's not something you can learn in a day, but I can learn. So, I mean, I don't know how to do many things, but one of the things I learned is that everything in this world can be learned. I mean, look at this screen here behind me. You have a huge screen here. Beautiful screen. You get an awesome image here. I don't know how to build one of those, how to make one of those, but I can learn. So why is it that you can't learn to be successful? Actually, I believe you can. But some people say, listen, you can't learn to be successful. Either you are born with it or you're not. It's in your genes. It's how you're born. It's the mentality you have as you're growing up. And after that, you can't change it anymore. Actually, some say that what you do up until 14 years old determines who you are pretty much after that. That who you are onwards from 14 years old is determined by what you do and what you learn before then. But the truth is, should you accept failure? Should you accept things going wrong? Should you accept a life that is less than what you wanted it to be? A marriage that is less than what you wanted it to be? Should you accept things that are completely the opposite of what you want? Or should you say, hold on a second, my life may not be what I want it to be, but I can change this. I may not have the traits of a person who's successful, but I can learn to have. I may not have the tools of success, of overcoming problems, but I can learn to have. And if you do this, if you have this mentality, then everything can change. Everything can be better. So resign or rather don't resign to the thought that you were born to suffer. Don't resign to the thought that some were born to be happy while others were born to be unhappy. That some were born to have a family while others were born to be single mothers. And by the way, if you're a single mother, you know, I believe you are you're a fighter, because it's not easy to be a single parent. Let's say single parent so that we're not just talking about mothers. But I believe everyone wants a family. You may be a single parent now, but you don't want to be a single parent for the rest of your life. You want a family. You want stability. And what I'm trying to say here to you tonight is this, is that even though you may have been told that this is how your life has to be, and you have to accept it, you have to sign on the dotted line and say, this is my life, I am telling you that this is wrong. I'm telling you that even if society, if people around you say, listen, some were born to be at the top of the food chain and others at the bottom, and you were born to be at the bottom, I'm telling you that this is wrong. That you can have a family, you can have health, you can have a successful career. Actually, just before we go to a break, in tonight's service in church, we had a lady. She was telling us a story, and she was just made joint director of a company, something like this. Joint director of a company, her salary was increased in a really big way. But when she came to church, she used to wear clothes that she would borrow from her neighbors. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm sure it's embarrassing for anyone to go to their neighbors and ask for clothes that they can borrow. But since she learned how to use her faith, and I put the emphasis here on learned, since she learned how to use her faith, her life has turned around completely. Perhaps before people would tell her, listen, you were born to be miserable, to have a miserable and poor life. But she learned otherwise. Do you know why? Because faith can change everything. So you that are watching me now and you say, James, I believe, I used to think, and I still think that I was born to suffer, to be unhappy, to be sick, to have a broken family. I used to think that. But now that you said what you just said there on the screen, I have this new lease of hope, of life, that things can change. And if everything in this world can be learned, I want to learn how to be successful. Then we can help you. We can pray for you. We can help you how this and show you how this can be done. And you can call right now someone to speak to us here. The number to call is 020-7686-6300, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email, which I have access here now on my iPad, which is help@findinganswers.tv, help@findinganswers.tv. We're going to go into a break, and I'll be right back.
This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Mondays, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesdays, prayers for healing. Wednesdays, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursdays, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturdays, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sundays, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
You know, we were saying earlier that some people feel and think that they were born to suffer, and that they were born to be at the bottom and fail. And the person I have here with me in the studio tonight, you know, once you hear the beginning of a story, certainly you would think that she was put on this earth to suffer, because she went through a lot. She went through some really, really tough times. Before I speak to her and I introduce you to her, here's a very interesting video about grabbing opportunities in order to succeed. Have a look.
It is commonly assumed that financially successful people are driven by money, but most would tell you that they are fueled by passion, a vision for their product and service, by the opportunity to solve the problem and make life easier, better, and cheaper. One of the defining traits of a successful person is the ability to spot an opportunity and imagine something where others haven't. Many people will be satisfied with a couple of successful businesses, but not Eldad Matiyahu, who saw beyond his 2 thriving frozen yogurt stores. He had been reading about a fiber optic space and decided he wanted into the technology sector. So he sold his yogurt shops and his Harley and got into the field he knew nothing about. He took a job with a fiber optic company to learn the business and discovered his niche there. Customers told him they were frustrated that they couldn't find or have access to who was on their networks, important for security. I realized that there was no solution on the market addressing this pain point, Matiyahu says. I took time to figure out why. The products Matiyahu created made activity on the network easily visible and also protected the system. He bootstrapped his company, and with $100,000, the proceeds from his 2 yogurt stores and his Harley, along with a small investment from family members, turning down ventures from capitalists along the way, in October 2013, he sold the company for $190 million. Entrepreneurs often face naysayers because we see the future before the future plays out, Matiyahu says. You have to be several steps ahead of the market. So, are these traits in you? There's only one way to find out.
Welcome back. Now, you're going to meet, not meet, but you're going to get to know a little bit about someone who's in the studio with me. And she went through some really, really difficult and tough times. But we're talking about tough times to the extreme, because you know, you'll hear her story, but I believe there are people that, even though we are in a first world country, at least this program is coming to you from a first world country, they may be going through something very similar to what she was going. And I want you to hear her story right now. So I have Sheila here with me. How are you, Sheila?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're okay?
Yeah, very good.
Before you tell us about when you first came here to England, tell us a little bit about your story from the beginning and the problems you went through, even before you got here.
I'm from Brazil, so when I was in Brazil, I had a boyfriend for like 4 years, and for me, he was going to be my husband, so I had that created in my mind. So I was really happy, so everything was working really well. And then after 4 years, one day he just came to me and then he said, I don't want to be with you anymore. So, and for me, that was the end of the world, because I created into my mind, I was going to be happy, I was going to get married, and then my life would be like happy in Brazil. So after he did that with me, so I just started getting depressive. I was really, really sad. So I used to cry all the time. My family was really worried with me because I was losing weight. And after about 20 days, he was living with somebody else. So, and that really, really hurt me.
So that was even worse, right?
Yeah.
Because if someone leaves you and you're, in your mind, did you think there was anything wrong in your relationship?
No, for me it was perfect. For me it was everything okay. I was really happy. For me, like, he was the man of my life. He was my prince, so everything was okay.
So him leaving you was already bad enough, but then leaving you and 20 days later being with someone else, that must have really put you down.
Yes, because I used to live in a small city, so, and then everybody knew, everybody could see him with the other girl, so everybody came to me and said, oh, he's living with her. So, and that I put in my mind, maybe he was with her before, or like when I was with him, so I was really, really bad, so I feel really down.
And that shows us something, you know, especially in your relationship. You should never, ever, ever make someone the most important thing in your life, because should something happen to that person, what's going to happen to you? I mean, you can make someone for you very important, but that person can't be your everything, right? Because at that moment your life revolved around him.
Yes, everything was around him. I was in university, but I was always thinking, oh, I'm gonna get married like in 2 years, I'm gonna build up my family, maybe I'm not gonna work what I studied, so it just was, everything was around him, so my life was around him.
So you said you became very depressed. What happened because of that depression?
I was really like, I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to speak to anybody, I just want to be sleeping. I was sleeping all day, I was really, really down, and I had to be off from work for like 1 week because I couldn't do anything. I was really, really bad. I even went to speak to him after he finished with me. I went to ask, why are you doing that to me? And he just was saying, because I don't love you, I don't want to be with you. He didn't have an answer, so yeah, but I was really, really depressed. Yeah.
Even though he said he didn't love you, did you try to get him back, to say, come back to me?
I did. I was like, please, please come back to me. You are everything, and then I need you. I can't be without you, but no way. He just said no.
Looking back now, that sounds really bad, right?
Really, yeah.
You didn't value yourself that much.
Not at all, not at all. But my mom used to say, like when everything was happening, she used to say, one day he's gonna come back to you, don't worry, one day he's gonna regret. And I couldn't believe. For me, I was not, never, he never's gonna come back, never gonna, change his mind. So, and then after 1 year, I decided to come to London. I decided to come to study here.
Why? Why did you decide to leave there to come here?
I was thinking, if I change place, if I go to another country, everything is going to stay behind. Everything I pass, all the suffering would stay behind. I would have a new life here. So that's why I decided to come.
Do you think, looking back now, do you think you were running away from your problem there?
I was thinking change country, like have a better life, like forget about everything, but wasn't. No.
So what happened when you got here? I mean, you had these expectations.
Yeah.
What was your idea of England when you came here?
Actually, before I came, he came back to me asking to go back to him because he said, oh, I did a mistake, I want you back. My boyfriend said, no, now I'm going because no, it's finished. So then I came to London. So when I came here, I thought it would be easy. I said, oh, I did some English course in Brazil. So I thought, oh, no, it's fine. I get there, I get a good job, lots of money, I'll be happy. But when I got here, it just was opposite than what I was thinking, yeah.
What started to happen when you first got here?
So the first thing is like when I get to the airport, then I start speaking the language my way. Then I see I don't know English at all. So then I started getting like lost because my job was like cleaning. I was cleaning like since in the morning all day, going to college. But my life was like circle because I was getting some money, but I have to spend with my visa, with my studies. So I wasn't getting anything from here. And I was really, really sad because I was really lonely. I didn't have my family. I was by myself. So it was really hard for me. Yeah.
So I mean, the beginning of going to any country is always difficult, right? But I mean, I think to a certain extent from what you said now, it seems normal. I mean, you were working hard, trying to pay your fees for school and surviving, but things got worse, right? What started to happen?
What started to happen because the job I was doing wasn't paying much, so I started like run out of money because I brought some money from Brazil, but I didn't have much left. So, and then what I start like not having even money for my food. So sometimes because I used to share a house with like 3 or 4 people, and during the night I used to go down and get something from the fridge from my friends because I didn't have money at all. I was living like without money.
So you got to the point of having to, I mean, we're not going to call it stealing because it was surviving. You were trying to survive. You got to the point of having to borrow, let's use that word first, not to use stealing. You got to the point of having to take food from someone else in order to get by without them seeing in the middle of the night.
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
And you know, Sheila, your story is not unique because we live in a country where there are so many foreigners. You know, everyone in this studio here right now is a foreigner. The people behind the cameras, the people working in the studio. And I tell you what, it's not maybe say, oh, you know, James, this is terrible. How can you only have foreigners there? We're in London. We're in London, depending on where you are in London. You know, you find among 10 people, one is born and bred in this country. Everybody else is a foreigner. And so I believe your story strikes a chord with many people who are watching us now. And maybe you're watching me and you're an immigrant. You came here, you wanted to do something really good for yourself, for your family. You came here and you thought, listen, in 3-4 months I'll be able to help my family back home. Maybe you can't even help yourself, and maybe even your family don't know what you're going through. Did your family know what you were going through?
No, that was another point, because I used to call my mom and always say, no, is everything okay? I'm really happy here. I love this country, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to show her, because back in Brazil, I had everything. I had my mom, my dad there. I could have food, like it's what I want. And then when I got here, like, I couldn't even have the basics. So that for me was really frustrating.
Okay.
I was really
We're going to interrupt your testimony now, because look, if you're watching me and you find yourself watching this program in somebody else's TV just because they're not home, you can use the TV a little bit because you can't even afford your own TV. Perhaps you are watching me now and everybody back home thinks that you're doing so well here in this country, but maybe you can't even tell them what you're going through because you feel embarrassed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about because you're working hard, but you feel embarrassed. I mean, it's part of human nature. And it's even worse if you are watching me now and you are born and bred in this country and you also find yourself in this situation. I mean, it's like I said, it's maybe you are an honest person, but that's how you are right now. You find yourself in this situation and say, James, I don't know what I can do to get out of this situation, because maybe you're a hard worker. You were a hard worker, right, Sheila?
I used to wake up 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, and then work cleaning houses, cleaning offices, and then studying English in the afternoon. So I was working like every day, Monday to Sunday, every day.
It was not for lack of work. You were working hard.
I was working really hard, but unfortunately the money wasn't enough because with so many things to pay, like pay rent as well. So that was really difficult as well to have to share the room, share accommodation with lots of people. That was really bad as well.
So, you know, maybe you say, look, James, when I was back home, I had a little place, but it was mine. Now you don't even have that place that is yours. Maybe you say, James, I'm born and bred here. I'm a hard worker, but I don't get a chance. Nobody gives me a break. I need a way out of my problem. If you find yourself in this situation, if you can see and understand what Sheila went through, perhaps you're going through the same thing, then talk to us. We have people here ready to speak to you now who are going to encourage you to succeed and pray for you to succeed, because prayer can make a difference. That's what Sheila did. If you want to speak to someone now, well, we go for the break. And even when we come back from the break, the number to call is 020-7686-6300. 020-7686-6300. You can do that now, and I'm sure that today can be the beginning of a great change in your life. When we come back, we're going to hear from Sheila what was the lowest point, the worst point of her life, but how she managed to turn things around. We'll be right back.
Click on to uckg.org for all the latest happenings at the UCKG Help Centre. It's dynamic, interesting and full of content that will add to your daily life. Keep up to date with all the latest info and events up and down the country at a UCKG closest to you. There's something for everyone, and you're invited. Check out what we've done previously and update your calendar with what's coming up next. Ladies, especially for you, presenters and authors Nanda Becerra, Esther Becerra, Chris Cardoso and Viviane Freitas share with you advice on becoming a better woman. Read their top tips on health, beauty, love and well-being, all aimed at helping you become the woman you were created to be. And if you're looking for food for the soul and personal development, then check out messages from world-renowned spiritual leader Bishop Macedo, as well as character-building blogs from Bishops Renato and Celso Jr. It's spiritual intelligence for your life. And for all you young guys and girls, why not check out our section dedicated to youth? Real talk, real advice, and a whole lot of fun. Catch cool clips of their shows and listen to the catchiest VYG record track. Want some inspiration? Watch our live transformational videos, recent programs, plus all the promos and coverage of some of our best shows and events.
Hello, very good evening to all of you. This is Finding Answers.
Finding us is easy. Wherever you are in the UK, find the UCKG nearest to you at a click of a button. UCKG.org. All you need at your fingertips.
Lord, I'm struggling. Show me what I have to be thankful for.
By the way, it's not a bill. It must be umpteen bills. Because when the Senate Finance Committee to get to work on a tax reform, well, the first thing we got to make sure is that we raise the tax for the people at the top.
Lord, I'm struggling. Show me what I have to be thankful for.
Welcome back. Before we go and hear the rest of Sheila's story, I want to give you a few more moments for you to speak to someone here if you need to on the line. Then while we play this video talking about tenacity in achieving success, you have maybe another couple of minutes for you to do that. We'll be right back.
The road to success is an ultra marathon. You have to be able to overcome many uncertainties and push through obstacles for sometimes an extended amount of time. This trait is also known by many names such as perseverance, persistence, determination, commitment, and resilience. But it really is just old-fashioned stick-to-itness. Tenacity is the number one trait for those who want success. But this doesn't always happen straight away. When failure happens, you have to start all over again, something that Jet McCandless also knows. He was a partner of a fast-growing freight logistics operation, but the rapid expansions triggered mistakes, including an invoicing glitch which left the company without enough cash reserves. The business had to be sold for a fraction of its value. McCandless didn't agree to the terms and was fired. He lost the company house, the company car, and wound up moving into his girlfriend's apartment. It was a tough time, he recalls. I came very close to going bankrupt. From then, he went on 25 job interviews and got offered logistics positions, paying an annual salary of $200,000 and upwards. But McCandless, who grew up humbly in public housing, wondered to himself, should I take a comfortable, secure job, or could I build something better? He stated, I was afraid that failure would define the rest of my life, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So, rather than accept one of those big offers, he started over, founding a new company. In 2 years, his company grew to a $35 million revenue. I'm glad I didn't take one of those corporate jobs, he says now.
You know, a lot of people are held back from even trying to succeed because they're afraid of failure. You know, they think, what if I try and it doesn't happen? But if you don't try, you fail. You're failing already anyway because you didn't even try. So, I mean, if you try, you're already 50% better off because there's a 50% chance of you winning, right? So, Sheila, going back to your story, what was the lowest point of your life here in the UK that you can remember?
Was when one day I just wake up and then I didn't have like food at all, and then I was really, really sad. So I went to the central London and I just sat on the park and I just started crying because I didn't know what to do. I just was lost. I didn't want to go back to Brazil and show them like I fail, you know. I want to be success in this country. So I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. I was really bad. Yeah.
You were there in the park. Perhaps there were many people walking around, but nobody knew what you were going through.
No, I couldn't stop crying. I was feeling empty. I was really empty. Like I was feeling like I just want like somebody to talk or somebody to listen what I had to say, but I didn't have no one. So
how did you come to know about the church?
One day on these days I was going to work like in the morning, then I passed with the bus, then I saw the advertise of the church. Then I don't know, I just said, oh, this will be my chance. God maybe will help me, I don't know, because I have nobody. So and then I entered to the church, then I spoke with somebody, the advisor, and then he listened to me. Like I just said everything I was feeling, and then he just started coaching me and telling me what to do. So and then from there I just started changing. So
how long was it from when you arrived here in the UK until you came to the church?
2 years.
2 years. And for those 2 years you felt you didn't have anyone?
No, not at all. No, I was really lonely. I was empty. I couldn't sleep at all. Like in the night, I couldn't sleep because I was always worried what was going to happen next day, what I'm gonna do, because I didn't have nothing. So I just was lost.
Did your family ever suspect of what you were going through here? Did they ever know that it was that tough for you?
My mom, she came to visit me because one of the people is to clean their house. They gave me a ticket for my mom to come here. So she came to visit me, and then she saw what I was going through, and then she said to me, you can't live like this, you have to go back. I give you 6 months to go back. So that's why I was really like, I have to decide, I have to do something, because I can't stay like that.
So as you started coming to the church, and like you said you were coached to deal, and not just deal, but fight against your problems. What started to happen? What were the changes you started seeing in your life?
I started to believe first in myself, because before I was really, I didn't have any confidence. I always think I'm always going to be a failure, never's gonna happen. I will never get somebody like relationship. I will never have a good job here. So then I started to believe in myself. I started believing like with the faith, I could do anything. The impossible could be possible in my life. Why not? Then I started to progressing. Like I changed my way to think as well.
So the first thing that changed was inside of you, right?
Yes.
And that's very important, because a lot of people say, look, actually someone was telling me, I think Friday, they were saying, look, I just want you to pray for me for my marriage problems to be solved. Because if my marriage problem is solved, everything is solved. And it's not like that. I mean, it's like you didn't need money. Money was not the solution to the problem. You had other deep problems that were hidden inside of you.
Yes.
The lack of confidence, and how from the time that you ended that relationship with that boyfriend, what was your expectation for the future in terms of your love life?
I always was thinking like, all the men are the same. I'll never find somebody who loved me and then I can trust, because if he did that with me, I thought he was everything and he wasn't. So I don't think I will be with somebody else.
Right.
So I was really like, my esteem was really low. Yeah.
So you changed who you were inside. You became someone who was more confident,
Yes.
right? You started to believe in yourself, you said. And as a result of that, what started to change on the outside? Because the inside changed. As a result, what happened on the outside?
I started to be like a goal for things which, because sometimes I was worried, like if I go for a job interview, I don't speak English very well. I was thinking, I'm not going to get this job because I can't speak. But I was going for it because I knew it would change. I had that faith. I said, no, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something. So, and then I went for this first job interview. My English wasn't very good, and then the person who was interviewing, she said to me, I can see you can't speak English. It was in a shop, so you need to speak. And then she said, I can see you don't speak English very well, but I'm going to give you this opportunity. She said, because I can see you really believe in yourself, you can do something. So then I start from that. I just start fighting for what I want.
So you went from cleaning, right, which is an honest job, but I think most people aspire to do more, to working in a shop. And what happened from there? How did you develop in your career from there?
So after I was in that shop, then I started like learning more English, going to the school, like really try hard. And then in church as well, I was going like every week, like taking advice, and then like thinking a lot what to do. So and then I just changed my way. Like I just started to see the life in a different way. So when I met my husband as well. Then we started dating. So
before you tell us about your husband, we're going to keep that for just in a minute. Tell us about the part of your career first.
Yeah. So my career, then I started in this shop, and then after people looking my hard work, they start offering me position in different shops, and then I went one by one. I wasn't even going for interview because they could see the way I was doing well. They invite me to work for them. So then nowadays I'm a manager in the shop, one of the biggest shop in London, I think in the world as well. So department store, and I manage people from English people. So even though I thought I'll never be able to do that. So
if I would be speaking to you now before you had come to the church, and I would tell you that, I don't know, in 5 years or 10 years, however long you've been in the church, you would be doing what you're doing now, would you believe it?
At the beginning, maybe not, but I persevere, and then I got my faith, I increased with my faith, and then I changed. It's not quick, because sometimes you go to church, then you think, oh, tomorrow I will have everything. It's not quick. And then the doubts come as well, but you have to fight against the doubts.
Right.
Yeah, you have to believe.
So, I mean, it was a process, but your life completely changed. Now you can tell us about your love life. What happened with that?
So with my love life, I met my husband. I went to a birthday party, my friend's birthday party, and he was there. So he was her friend, so I met him, and then we started dating. But even though I was a bit like I don't know, do you know, I was feeling still, but I started persevering, like using my faith. I was thinking, if he's gonna be my husband, I don't want to suffer anymore. So, and then we started dating. Then we went to Brazil. He went to Brazil to visit my family, to see my mother and my father. So, and then we got married here in London, yeah. So, and I'm very happy today.
How long have you been married for?
I've been married for 5 years.
5 years.
And the marriage was something I would never expect, because his job is quite different as well. So we got married in a beautiful place. So it's something I'll never expect was going to happen to me.
Am I right in thinking that before you came to the church, there was a point you were only eating noodles?
Yes.
Is that right? Because
bread and noodles, yes.
Because I remember your story from before. How long did you go just eating bread and noodles?
I was about 1 year, I was really skinny, because when my mom came to see me, she said, you lost so much weight, you're so skinny, because I was just eating bread and noodles. And then today I have my flat with my husband, with 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom for guests and 1 bedroom for us. And before I used to share, and then today I can eat what I want, we go to restaurants, my life just completely changed.
So no more noodles?
No.
So you see how your life changed so much. I mean, like you said, it was a process. And you that are watching me now, I don't want you to think that God is a magician, right? And actually, the Word of God says that God, He doesn't give anything. He rewards. The Word of God says God is a rewarder. Now, a reward is something that comes as a result of something that you did. And what you need to do to see that reward is come to Him, is give Him a chance. And look how arrogant that seems. I mean, it seems arrogant when you say, I'm going to give God a chance. He should give you a chance. He should give me a chance. Who am I to give Him a chance, right? He is the Almighty One. I should be the one begging for a chance from Him. And yet, if we revert things, all you need to do is to give Him a chance to show you that He wants to change your life. And yes, your life will not change overnight or perhaps in a week. I'm sure that when you started coming, Sheila, you saw in the first few times you started seeing changes.
Yes.
And that kept you going, but things didn't change overnight. And just like her life, before and now, it's like 2 completely different people. You can't even compare. And you're not giving details here as well, and I wouldn't expect you to, but your life is really blessed.
Yes, it's really, really blessed. Financial, and my relationship with my husband as well. I've been learning, like, even like now we're learning church how to deal with your husband, how to have a blessed relationship, and that's really important as well. And then my financial life is really good. We bought a house in Brazil. It's just
everything's
changed.
So I wanna invite you to do something. You know, even though we are not the ones who should be giving God a chance, He's the one who needs to give us a chance. Right? He's doing us a favor. But even so, I want to set a challenge. If you really want to see your life changing, perhaps you've listened to Sheila's story and you say, look, that's more or less how I am. Perhaps even worse than her, if it is possible to be worse than her. And you want to see the same change she saw, then you know what to do. I've told you already early in the program. And what I want to do, we're going to go into a short break. When we come back from the break, I want to do a prayer with you. A prayer for you, but you're going to pray together with me. Perhaps you had already given up of hope and strength to carry on, but we're going to pray together. And the prayer we're going to make, the water you're going to drink, if you have the water there with you, we are going to ask God to give you the strength you need for you to face and overcome whatever problems that you have. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.
How does a person addicted for 20 years start over? Let us help you.
I'm already prepared here with Sheila next to me for the prayer. I have my glass with water, and I want to invite you for you to do the same now. Prepare your glass with water, you that want God's intervention in your life. We're going to pray on your behalf, and I'm sure that this prayer can bring about a change in your life. Let's talk to God now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like a prayer concerning your financial life, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus, we enter in your presence right now, my God, because you said that wherever there are 2 or 3 gathered in your name, you would be there. And even though this person who's praying with me now may not be gathered with me personally, physically here in the studio, but by faith we are united in a different location, but by the power of media technology we are now together, my Lord. And it's as if I am holding hands with this person, uniting my faith with theirs. And you know, my Lord, perhaps this person has had to hide the things she has gone through in her life from her family members, from people, because they don't want those who love them to know what they are going through, because they don't want to be seen as a failure. They want to be seen as success. And perhaps they have already accepted the thought that they were born to suffer, born to fail. Perhaps there was a point where Sheila herself used to think like this, born to be unhappy in her love life. But you showed her otherwise, my God. You opened her understanding to see something different, completely different, that you put her in this world for her to be successful and happy. So, my Lord, I determine right now in the same way that your power and your mighty hand touches the life of this person to put a stop to the suffering, to put a stop, my Lord, to that succession of failures that this person had in their life. Because you are not a God of words alone, but a God of actions, a God who touches the life of those who call upon you. And by faith we call upon you now. We ask you, my God, that just like Sheila will never forget the day she first walked into that church, this person will never forget the moment of this prayer. Perhaps the first time they have prayed in a long time. This prayer will be like a lifeline for this person. I determine this in the name of the Lord Jesus. Lord, consecrate this water. When this person drinks of it, let them receive power and strength to overcome. In Jesus' name, you may now drink of this water. You know, there are moments in our life where we never forget. I will never forget the first time that I walked into church. Not just any church. The church that I came, learned to use my faith, like Sheila, and my life changed. I'll never forget that day. And I believe that if you were going through a tremendously tough time, but you chose to use your faith in this prayer right now, maybe your life will not change tomorrow or in 2 days' time. But if you start to use your faith, your life will start to change, and you will remember this day here tonight, this night, as the night where you started to use your faith and things began to change. Okay? We'll be back with you again tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.